speak to us on the crafting class books with StoryJumper. Please let's make welcome Rita Moltzan. Rita Moltzan, you can take over.
Hello, I'm here. Thank you.
All
Hi,
right, awesome.
everyone.
Hi,
Can you hear me?
absolutely, I can hear you.
Excellent. So I'm just going to share my screen now so I can, and then I'll introduce myself. Okay, for audio, I need to share a tab. Ooh, that's not going to work very well. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Is my slides showing everyone?
Not yet, we can't see anything.
It says it's sharing on my computer. There we go. All
Okay,
right.
it's coming up.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rita Moltzan, and I am a teacher at ISM Myanmar, the International School of Myanmar. I teach grade 4. And my session today is called Crafting Class Books with StoryJumper. I've been using this tool for pretty close to 10 years now, and I've really enjoyed it. So I'm hoping that I can share some experience and some ideas with you today. So what is StoryJumper? StoryJumper is a free online platform that students can create illustrated books on it. You can also create books that don't have pictures too, but the illustrated books are a lot of fun for students. Today, our goal is for me to introduce it to you, hopefully get to some examples and tips, and we might even have a chance to get started, for you to get started with it as well. I hope you can hear me, and I hope you can see my slides clearly. Can I get a thumbs up in the chat? Perfect. Okay, because I know there was some sharing issues on the last one. So anyways, the website is called StoryJumper, and it's storyjumper.com. And we will talk more about that in a few minutes' time. Why should we publish student work? Students need to have an audience for their writing, and it's a really great way to celebrate their achievements. They see themselves as writers. They see themselves as real authors. And it motivates our students to do their very best. They see that their words can be shared beyond their own classroom, beyond their teacher. So it's a great way of celebrating student voice. I see in the chat, what is StoryJumper? StoryJumper is a website that is free to use to create books online. Illustrated books are the usual choice, but you can also have more text than pictures. I will share my slides at the end, as well as a handout for you. I'll send it on to Rotimi, who will pass it on to you. So there's 2 types of projects that I've used in my classroom. I'm sure there's other options too. I've done individual student books, as you see on the left here. And on the right, I've also done a class book where every student would get a page in a shared story. So I would like to show you those examples. In order to do that, I have to stop sharing this tab and then share a new tab. So let me do that for a moment. And I will share a new tab. Share. There we go. When I practiced this, I didn't realize I'd have to share a separate tab every single time. So here is a sample book. It's just coming up on the screen now on the StoryJumper website. This is an example I made for my 6th grade students last year because they created poetry books. And it looks like a real book. You just click it and it opens up. And my students created a book very similar to this. I'll show you some examples in a moment. And I had them illustrations and words on every page of their book. You can see here that you can download the book afterwards. You can share the book. You can comment on books you read on the website. It does cost money to download books and to buy books, but to create the book and to share it as a class is completely free. So I'm going to share a different tab now. And here's another one. This one is a class book. And I did this at the same school that our previous presenter, Ken, was with Ken at the same school, and Rotimi as well. I think some of you know Rotimi. He's there as well. This book, we recorded audio. You can see the audio button down here. And this is a chance for students to really hear their own voices. We created this book together during COVID. And let me see if you can hear it. Where's the audio? I want you to hear the kids' voices. Here we go. Let's go to the next page and you'll hear their voices. Let's listen.
I don't know why we called our aunt. Perhaps she was late to class. There wasn't a lady who followed Rita. There wasn't no lady who.
Okay, so those are two types of projects, a individual student book as well as a class book. And there's so many options you can do by using StoryJumper. Here's a couple more from my students in 6th and 7th grade from this past school year. I will share just a little bit so you can see how the students put their books together. I won't share any audio. So this student created a book, lots of images, lots of color. She did a great job. So I'm really pleased with how well the students did on this project, and they really enjoyed creating a book. Here's another example. This one is by a 7th grader. And again, you see that each child is different. Each child has their own style. Each child has their own voice. And it's a way for them to celebrate their writing and celebrate their interests. And it overall turned out to be a wonderful project for my 6th and 7th graders last year. Excuse me. So how do we get started with StoryJumper? What I'd like to do is try to give you a live demo on how to build a book. So if you could, please send in the chat. Can you please send me maybe a title of a story, a character, a setting, and we'll try to build a book together. So I'll give you guys a moment to send those ideas in the chat while I go to the StoryJumper website and get started there. Okay, so someone said Stone Age. All right, so do you want a caveman as a character? Could someone send me the name of the character in our Stone Age story? And let's get started. I will show you now how we can build a book together. So Clara, Stone Age Clara, and there's going to be a scientist in there too called Aliyu. All right, so you can see here that this was my classes from last year, and I'm going to add my grade 4 class this year when we get started with StoryJumper. You can import your classes from Google Classroom, from Clever, or even add your own class manually. Once you're into your class, you can scroll down and you see where it says create a new book. So that's where we will start today with create a new book. And there are several templates that you can choose from. But I'm going to start with a blank book. right here. And whenever you click on it, it shows you students who have become published authors. These people actually ordered their own copies of their books and they deliver it to your home. That's where they make money, is when people order their own copies. So here's our book. So we have a blank cover and we can change that color to any color we want. But because it's the Stone Age, I'm going to click this color and I'm going to type the title of my book is The Stone Age. And our author is Teachers in Abuja. Now I can add pictures to my book by clicking on props, and I will see if they have a Stone Age anything. Okay, well, there's a pick and a stone. I will add those. For now, those I can put them in my book by clicking on them and moving them to where I want them. If you can't find pictures you want that you want from the options there, you can also upload your own photos. You can search photos online and see what you get. So there's some photos online that I could add for the Stone Age. I don't know what picture I want. Let's just take this one right here. And you can choose whether you want your picture to be a scene or a prop. A scene will cover the whole background. A prop will enable you to resize it and move it where you want to. So there I can do that. You also have an option with props and photos to use AI. But I don't want to explore the AI option today, but that's something you might want to explore on your own. Once you go into your book, you click on the pages and you can start writing your story. I apologize if my voice is breaking. I've got my microphone on. I think it's the internet. I'm in Myanmar and our internet is very slow in Myanmar.
Your voice is perfect. I think it's from
okay.
it's from the other side, yeah.
Okay, so here I can start my story. Once upon a time, there was a cave woman named Clara, and I can just keep typing and expanding my story. And then I can add my props. I can add voice by clicking the voice button here, clicking record. Once upon a time, there was a cave woman named Clara. And then I've added voice to my book. I'm just going to trash that. I don't have a lot of time today to really explain in detail how to create a book, but that's something you could experiment with a little bit on your own. So that's what a book looks like when you get started, and you can just keep adding pages and adding pictures, adding a whole scene to the background, like this one, for example, and it will cover the whole background if you add a scene. And then you could put text on top of your scene if you want to, and change the color, of course, of your text to a color you see, like that. So that's a little bit of how do you create a book with StoryJumper. So let's go back to my slideshow now. And so that was just a little bit of a demonstration on how to build a book. Students need time to explore the tools in StoryJumper. So really gives them some time to practice, and you as a teacher would need to practice as well. If you don't have one-to-one computers in your classroom, you could have a station set up where students use one computer and you're doing a class book where students are responsible for one page at a time. And you would put their names on each page so they know which page is theirs. And it's just up in the classroom ready for them to add. But they really need time to go through all of the different features. I'd like to talk for a moment about how to use this in your classroom. And here are some ideas for curriculum integration. I use it in my English language arts class, and I've also used it as a librarian about 5 years ago when I was a librarian. Students can write a poetry book, a fictional book, a personal narrative. They could write a story of their life, or they could even do a year-long collection of their own writing with putting a poem here, a paragraph here, a story as the year goes on, and it could be a year-long project. You could do science or social studies research projects. A music colleague of mine said their students could research a musician or an instrument and then draw some pictures and put what they learned in for each page, a different student about the instruments that they learned. In a SEL course, they could do an All About Me book. At the end of the session, if we have time, we'll have an opportunity to add our ideas to a Padlet or in the chat, but we'll talk about more ideas towards the end. So the first thing you would need to do is to create your own teacher account. To do that, you go to StoryJumper.com, and the website is StoryJumper.com. You can see it on my screen there. Maybe you can take a screenshot or take a photo of that. And that's where you would set up your account. The students do not need emails as long as you add them to your class as a teacher. And then you can just add your students and they can join with their own Google accounts. Please give students time to draft on paper first. That way everything is organized before they go into StoryJumper. And you would want to model how to use StoryJumper with a projector in front of the class so they can see how to use the various tools that I showed you a few moments ago. Give them time to explore and play. Just let them make a practice book first and just have as much fun as they want, putting all the photos in they want, using all the different text features, and just playing with it before they actually start their official first book. You would want to make sure to celebrate after they create books. You could have a read aloud. You could invite parents in. When I celebrated with my students, we went to the library and they all put their computers up with their books on the computer screen with a piece of paper beside their computers for compliments. And students went around from one computer to another and read the book and then wrote a little compliment on a piece of paper. So we did a gallery walk. And it was a great way to celebrate. Share it with your parents, share it with your teachers, share it with the library. If you print a copy of the book, it could be published and put into the school library and even put a barcode on it so it could get checked out, which is something I did when I was a librarian at Raffles American School. We barcoded the students' StoryJumper books. So I have a challenge for you. I would like you to publish a class book this year. And let's take a few moments to get some ideas going on a Padlet. And we're going to have some questions at the end as well. So let me share the Padlet with you, and then I'll share it in the chat. And then you can, let's see here, where is my address? I'm going to share it in the chat right now for you. I'm going to share the website as the Padlet link, and I'm putting that into the chat. Excuse me. Sorry, it's taking a moment for my chat to load. Here it comes. All right, so I'm going to send you the address for StoryJumper as well as the Padlet. So here comes the address for StoryJumper. Yes, StoryJumper is free to use. It's free to create books and use them in the school setting. If you choose to purchase a book and download it, then you would have to pay for it. And similarly, if parents wanted to buy their child's books, they would have to pay for that as well. So let me share the Padlet link. I did share it, but the internet seems slow. I don't know why the Padlet link is not coming through. Let's try this again. All right, here comes the Padlet link. And I will share that screen. Okay, I've sent it, but I don't know why it's not coming. Oh, there it is. There's the Padlet link. All right, so let's look at the Padlet. If you're able to do it on your phone, you should be able to click this plus button or double click anywhere, and you can add an idea of how you could use this in your classroom. So you can just type right into those little sticky notes on the Padlet and share an idea of how you could use this in your own classroom. Did the Padlet come through? Maybe the internet is not fast enough. You could also share your ideas in the chat. How do you see yourself using this in your own classroom? What could you do with your own students? So I added an idea here, a collection of student writing throughout the year, mostly creative, including a personal narrative. So how could you use it? One of my teachers said, create a music book, create a book about musical instruments. And then you click the publish button and that will appear on the Padlet. Is anyone else able to add something to the Padlet? Oh, good. I see some ideas coming. Miss Favor, she wants to use it to create stories for her grade 1 class. To enable to increase their reading ability and their thinking. Wonderful idea, Miss Favor. Essie, emergent writing in the nursery section with drawings and 2 to 3 letter words. A wonderful idea, Essie. Debbie Oyakami, exploring the creativity of a first grader. Yes, wonderful, wonderful ideas. Daniel, create a book on how to simplify math for high school students. That's a great idea. I hadn't thought about math because I'm not very mathematical. So Daniel, that's a really nice idea. Halima, create a book about how to be a successful student. Great. Ayork Isaac, a group of students writing about the challenges faced by students in a boarding school. Yes. I could even write a book about how to survive boarding school. What are their tips for success in boarding school? That's a great one. Yes. And then they could share it with the new students coming in the next year. Let's see, what else have I got there? Kind. Every time something comes, it jumps around. Kind would like to help her first graders learn how to read without stress. So those of you who teach first grade, A wonderful idea would be an ABC book, and each child gets a letter of the alphabet, and they can write a sentence about their letter of the alphabet, and then they could go take some photos of things that start with the letter of the alphabet. That would be a really fun book to do for you first grade teachers. Narrative writing, Kosi, wonderful. Peter, on systems for science, I believe, for systems. So many wonderful ideas are coming up on the screen. Great. And I'm sure even after the presentation, you'll come up with some more ideas. I will share the presentation with you. I'll send it through to Rotimi, and I will share the Padlet link as well so that you can go back and look at these ideas later on. Temi says the Three Little Pigs, they could do a shared story, and it looks like they did it last week. So now they could even put it into StoryJumper. Wonderful. Import their pictures. Yes. When you use it with a younger grade, like kindergarten, first grade, they draw the pictures and then you import them into StoryJumper. And you might want to type up their words first, print it, they draw their pictures, and then you import it up into StoryJumper. Oh, I saw somebody wrote a comic book. Yes. Students love comic books as well. So that would be a wonderful way for science. Thank you, Respectful, to explain laboratory apparatus for science class and do it with a comic book or another type of book. A color book for preschool, great idea. Yeah, so many great ideas. Number books, how to add simple numbers. Yeah, you guys are coming up with wonderful ideas. Look at how many critical thinking skills, the discovery of atoms. Yes. Wow, you guys have such wonderful ideas. Yeah, good job. That's great. Yeah. All right, so let's go back to the slides for a moment. We'll have a question and answer. And so you guys came up with some really wonderful ideas, and I really hope that you could at least publish one class book this year and perhaps even try to use it if you have older students with them creating their own books. Do try to do it yourself first. It takes a little while to figure out how to put the pictures in, how to upload pictures, and students will find that a bit challenging at first, and so you being able to do it will be really helpful. I challenge you to publish your own book, like write your own story. If you're a math teacher, create a math book. If you're a kindergarten or a pre-K teacher, create a color book. Create a simple storybook to share with your students about you being an author, and then they're much more interested in trying to be an author themselves. So really give it a try. I want to talk about a couple of other ideas before I have some questions with you. Personal publishing. This book over here on the right is a book I wrote for my two sons. And I wrote a book about our time when we lived in Sumatra in the jungle. And so this book over here is a book I wrote for my sons. And these two books on the left are gifts. I make gifts for my grandchildren when they turn 2 years old. And these are two of my grandchildren you see on the left. And so I create a book about their life up until their second birthday, and I send it to them as gifts. I see in the chat that someone wants to know if you can use it for middle and high school students. You could, but you might want to have them write their books for a younger audience, because a lot of the graphics are quite cute in StoryJumper. But they could also do a very simple book with little or no pictures on the page and upload their own artwork or their own pictures, and then they wouldn't have to have too cute of pictures in their books. So you could definitely use it for that, high school teachers, yes. The last one I would like to mention is self-care. One of my colleagues at Raffles American School several years ago had a stroke, and it took him a while to recover. He regained his physical abilities very quickly, but his speaking was very delayed. It took him a long time to get his thoughts out and get his thinking out. And I was chatting with him one day, and I said, well, why don't you write stories? And he thought it was a great idea. So I showed him StoryJumper, and he started writing his stories in StoryJumper. And it was a way for him to just make it through, deal with his emotions while he was recovering from his stroke. So it can be a great way to deal with any personal trauma that anyone might be feeling. If you have students who are struggling with emotional issues, or maybe a parent breakup or some other tragic event in their lives, perhaps your students could write about it and publish it in a StoryJumper book. And that's a way of dealing with personal emotions. So there's so many other ways you could use this program. And I would love you to give it a try. So someone asked, Khadija, can you share how the StoryJumper looks, as I can't seem to download it? Okay, you don't download it. It is maybe on an iPad. You might download it as an app on an iPad, but I believe it's all web-based. So for example, let me show you what it looks like. I'm going to show you what it looks like. I'm going to share a different tab. Here comes a different tab. So after you read a book, you can encourage authors by commenting. So that's kind of a fun thing. So here's the website. It's storyjumper.com. So if you just do a Google search for StoryJumper, let me show you that. So here's a Google tab, and I'm just going to search for StoryJumper. So you do a search for StoryJumper, and it's the first thing that comes up. StoryJumper #1 rated site for creating storybooks. And you click on it. I'm already logged in, so you can see that I'm here at the top, but I'll log out, and you can see what it looks like when you're logged out. So that's what you'll see when you log out. So you need to sign up first here. And I do encourage you to sign up with your personal account for some personal stories, and then also sign up with your school account for your school stories, just so that you can keep them separate. Because if you're uploading a lot of photos, like for example, when I create my books for my grandchildren, I'm uploading all of their photos. I don't want those photos in my school account, so that when I'm demonstrating how to use it in front of my class, all of my family photos are there. So you really want to make sure that you keep your personal and your school separate. Here you click create your book for free, become a published author. You see that there's some students and people. Just click on get started. Now, some of my middle school students last year said that they found it a little bit clunky. And that's because they play Minecraft and Roblox and all those video games, and they wanted all this fast action video stuff. And it's not that. And I've looked a lot to find other options for publishing student writing. And so far, this is the best one I've found. And it is free, except for when you want to buy a book. And I'll show you that. I'll go into one of these books, and I'll show you what it looks like if you decide you want to buy. So here I am in this book. that I shared with you a few moments ago. I'm going to end the book here, close it, and click buy. You do not have to buy the book. To use the online site, it's free. To look at the book in class with your students, it's free. But if you want to buy a hardcover book, it costs $34 US. It's not cheap, but it's a hardcover book, just like you'd find in a library. And then you have to pay for shipping, and it gets really expensive when you pay for shipping. You do get a discount if you buy more than 15 books, if your whole class wants a book. Paperback books are cheaper. They're $19 a book. You can download a video book for $10. You can download and print a PDF book. And that's what I did when I was a librarian. I downloaded and printed PDF books. The last time I did it, though, it was only $2.99 or something. So it's gone up almost double in a couple of years. So that you have an option to download the books and to buy the books. But that costs money. But to simply use the site, it's free. And using it at school is free. You can use it with your class for as much as you want without paying anything. So that's really good. Oh, I see somebody sent a photo. They've already logged into StoryJumper. Good job, Christopher or Sylvester. Nice job. So we have a few minutes, everybody. We have about 8 minutes left. So let me just stop sharing. And if there's anyone who has a question, why don't we ask some questions, and I'll try my best to answer them for you.
All right, thank you very much.
Is there any questions out there? No questions? Okay, I guess there's no questions. Oh, can we sell or link the book on sites like Amazon? I don't believe so, because Amazon, I'm not positive, but Amazon has its own self-publishing option. So I don't think they would want you to publish a book with StoryJumper and put it on Amazon, because they would want you to use their own self-publishing options. Let me just see. So you can be allowed to sign in with more than one account. Yes, I have 2 accounts that I use, my personal account and my school account. So yes, I have books in both places. Can the book creation of my book be synchronous? I think what you mean by that is, can all the students in your class be in the same book at the same time working on the book? I believe that's what you're asking. I don't think so. I've never tried that. What I've done is had a group of kindergarten or first grade students illustrate their page, and then I've uploaded it to the book so all the pages are ready. And then I call the students one by one while they're reading in the library. I've called them over to one computer, and we read their page together, and then I record their voice. So doing a class book, you would have to have, kind of have it as a station, and each child goes and does their page one at a time. Mathematics teacher in college. I suppose if you were wanting college students to try to teach a mathematical concept to a younger group of students and try to simplify the wording and how to teach it, perhaps you could use it for that. That's the only thing I can think of. I think using something like, what's the one for Max? I just lost the word. iBooks. Is it called iBooks, or that might be a better option for college students trying to write about math principles. You don't get paid if you publish a book on StoryJumper. No, that's a good question. If you want to get paid for publishing your own book, you have to publish it yourself, maybe on Amazon or something else. This is meant to be used for teaching. And then once your students create a book, and if they choose to buy a book, that money goes to StoryJumper.com. That's how they create a lovely website for free. They get their money when people buy their books. You as an author do not get the money. So you would have to do that with Amazon or some other self-publishing method. Yes, you can explore the site for free as much as you want, and you can create as many books as you want for free. You don't have to buy the books, but you will never get paid for your books on StoryJumper. You'd have to explore other publishing options. On your phone, somebody wrote something about on your phone and it signaled you out regarding storage issue. I'm wondering if your phone just has too much other stuff on it. I think it works better on a computer or an iPad anyways, or any other kind of tablet, just because you need to see the whole screen while you're working and you're typing a story. A phone is just too small for that. What is the link for StoryJumper? Okay, I'll send it in the chat again. It's StoryJumper.com. Oops, I spelt it wrong. StoryJumper.com without the I in there. StoryJumper.com. Sorry, yeah. Oh, I think somebody else sent it. Thank you, Stella. Okay. Any other questions? There's 3 minutes left in the session. It might give you a chance to scoot out for a bathroom break or a water break. Thank you for the feedback. I really appreciate you coming to this session today, because I'm very passionate about writing and reading and getting kids to love books. And I think the best way to do that is to read to them and to also get them to publish their own stories. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for coming to this session. And I will send the information on to Rotimi. And if you have questions, you're welcome to send them to me as well. All right. What tool did you use? Oh, I used, my slides were what were my slides? SlidesNet, I think. I'll just quickly look at the back. Slide Kit. My slides were called Slide Kit. I'll share that slide so you can see it very quickly. And I will share the slides so you can see the name of the slides I use, because I didn't create my slides myself, just the words. I created them using Slide Kit. So you'll see the name of the slides in a minute. There's a couple of really good slides, free slides, Slide Kit, Slides Carnival, and I can't remember the other one I use sometimes, but Slide Kit is the name of the slides.
All
okay,
right.
Thanks everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah,
okay.
It's really been an exciting time. Thanks a lot for your time. Thanks for sharing.
All right. Bye,
so
everyone.
All right, bye. Thanks a lot.